Hey guys, it's been a while. Okay, a lot has happened, both academically and personally. Let's go ahead and talk about it. First of all, today is May 6th. The last time a piece of content, any sort of video, was uploaded to the channel was, I believe, February 2025. So it's been a little while. That could definitely bring out a lot of questions. First of all, what happened? Where have I been? What's happening to the future of the podcast and the YouTube channel? And I want to take a couple moments in this video to just sit down and talk through some of that stuff with you guys. Now, I'll start with, I guess, the easiest question, or the most straightforward question. What happened? What happened to the channel? The first thing I'll say is just last year, I decided to take some time off to particularly focus on my health. I won't get into a ton of details, but it was definitely a time that was needed. It was refreshing and helpful, and I'm glad ultimately, in hindsight, that I was able to take that time. And now I'm getting ready to transition back. So another thing I should bring up, obviously there's me stepping back from school, as I just talked about, but also one of the things I did last year was to step away from the channel, which meant not putting out any content, not keeping up with anything going on with the channel or the podcast, anything like that. And I am now looking to, as I transition back to school, as I'm in the process of transitioning back to school, I also want to make sure that I get to transition back into the channel, because this is something that I really care about and I want to continue doing. So that's pretty much all you need to know for what exactly happened. But although as I just said, I took some time to step back and away from some things, I will say that I was able to push forward in a lot of ways. There were a lot of major milestones that I've been able to hit throughout the past year that I've been very happy and excited about, and I also want to share with you guys. The first thing I'll say is I finished my pre-clinical years of medical school. Now, for those of you who don't know, the way medical school works is typically, at least most medical schools, or a good amount of them, those first 2 years of medical school are times that you focus on just being in the classroom, just regular school, going to class every day, sitting behind a desk, studying, taking exams, going through whatever didactic materials that you're going through. And in the last 2 years of medical school, things change a bit. It becomes clinical. Now you're going from learning all about the stuff in the classroom to actually going out and learning to practice the medicine in the real world, being in the hospital, being in the clinic, being in the outpatient center, stuff like that. Getting through those first 2 years of medical school is definitely a milestone that I'm glad to be able to look back at. If you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, you might have seen some of the vlogs where I got to share a lot of my experience going through those first couple years of medical school, how my experience studying was, interacting with my classmates, all those different things. And it really, I think, shows how far I've been able to come by the grace of God when it comes to medical school. The fact that I'm finally done with all the desk work, or not entirely, but for the most part, I'm finally done with just sitting behind the desk and studying and learning all the material in regular classrooms, and now I'm actually getting to learn how to practice it. Another milestone I will also say, this is definitely a major one. If you've been watching the channel for an amount of time, you might have an idea about this, but I was able, thank God, to pass USMLE Step 1. Now, if you don't know what that is, I can try to explain that for you for a second. In medical school, and also residency, there are a couple of licensing exams that you have to take to ultimately become a U.S. physician and have a license to practice in the U.S. One of them is Step 1, there's also Step 2, and then during residency, there's Step 3. Now, these exams are beyond crucial for medical students because not only do you need to pass them to become a doctor, it's one of the important factors that residency programs are going to look at when it comes to applying for residency. And Step 1 is a pass-fail exam, Step 2 is a scored exam, so they pay attention to what the results are. In order to pass step one, and any medical student knows this, there is a lot of preparation that has to go into it. If you've seen any of the vlogs, you know that my preparation for step one really started all the way, even in my first year of medical school. There's always this looming reality of step one and having to pass that. And throughout those first couple years of medical school, that really ends up being the major theme behind all the studying and the work that you're putting in. Now, in order to prepare for step one, I also went through a dedicated period of study time, which every medical school typically will give their students, where I was able to sit down for 4 weeks and just focus in on really preparing for the exam. This is something that I'll definitely talk about in a lot more detail, hopefully in a podcast episode or maybe another vlog or some type of video. I definitely will want to talk about how I was able to practically get to passing step one. But for now, I will just say that it was definitely an important time, and I will say that it really wasn't too bad. It meant a lot of commitment. It meant going through question after question after question, going through multiple blocks of 40 questions at a time. And really, I just had UWorld in one hand, first aid in the other, and just put in that work for those few weeks. Now, I think I'm going to leave it there. Again, I definitely want to talk about that in a future podcast episode or vlog. But another thing I will also say, there's even a third milestone that I'm going to go ahead and throw in here because I think it was important. I turned 24 this past winter. I think me turning 24 has been a reminder and a reflection of quite a number of things. The first being, it does make me sit back and remember that I'm pretty young to be doing this right now. I tend to be on the younger side when it comes to people going into medical school and going along the medical path. So I always find that interesting. Just myself, my classmates, all of us tend to be on the younger side when it comes to that. But I think another thing is it's also allowed me to reflect on the fact that I've come pretty far. A lot has happened. I've gone through college, undergrad. I've gone through half of medical school now, and I'm just seeing all the changes, not only in my own life, but the lives of the people around me as we're all getting older and starting to try to figure out the world. So that's also been an interesting thing. Okay, so I talked about what happened. I talked about what's been going on in my life academically and all the milestones I've been able to hit. And now I want to answer the question of what happens with the future of this channel. Now, I've been doing this channel for a few years now, actually. It feels like it goes fast, I suppose, but this channel has allowed for me to be able to share with you guys and any audience what it's like to go through the rigors of medical school, but also as a platform that I'm able to share the podcast on, the Less Than 3% podcast. And I have had the most fun being able to put together podcast episodes and record vlogs and try to put them out for people in the public to see. And with that being said, I want to be very clear that the Less Than 3% podcast is not going anywhere. So I'll be returning to making podcast episodes that I think you guys will definitely enjoy. Now, this is an opportunity. If you don't know what Less Than 3% is and you've never watched the podcast, go ahead. I'll try to put something up here. Make sure you click on that. Check out the podcast. There are plenty of episodes, not only with myself, just talking about different issues and different topics going on in the world of healthcare, but it's also been an opportunity for me to shine some light on other people's journeys throughout the medical field, whether it's been physicians or even trainers or people in the mental health space. It's really been a great opportunity for me to be able to have broad conversations with people about healthcare and about the different issues going on. And I want to continue to do that for you guys. So I definitely recommend, if you have not watched the podcast, go ahead and check it out. Go ahead and check out some of the vlogs, some of the other content here. I think you'll definitely enjoy it. And God willing, I plan to be making a lot more. Another thing I want to say is I am planning specifically to work on bringing season 3 of the Less Than 3% podcast to the channel. And definitely excited about doing that. Hopefully that will mean that I'm able to have a lot of new guests to talk about their experiences through healthcare, and also some other topics that I might find interesting that I can share with you guys. Now, lastly, I will say, I think having all of this time to, number one, taking time to step away, and then now starting to transition back into school and also with the channel has really helped remind me what all of this is all about for me. I will say that ultimately, what I want to be able to do is be able to make an impact on other people's lives through the form of healthcare, that I want to be able to be a part of that healing process for other people, to help others become the healthiest that they possibly can be for themselves, for their families, and the people that surround them. And this channel specifically has allowed me to show that to you guys, for you to be able to see the ups and the downs of the medical journey, for you to be able to see all of the different things that go on in medicine and healthcare. And I want to continue to share that with you guys. So I hope that you will also be along for the journey with me. If you haven't subscribed, now's maybe a perfect time to. You can hit the notifications, you can hit the like button, you can share with somebody else that you think would enjoy some of this content. And again, I would just say I am really excited to be able to get back to the podcast and back to the channel. Hopefully, there's plenty more to come. And with that, I will say, and it has been a while since I said this, I'll see you in the next one.